So we got a new product called Osmo Spot Remover, and we decided that we would test it on tannin stains. We have two pieces of timber, both of which had coffee mugs sitting on top, making stains overnight. So we know that these stains are quite deep, and normally you would need to sand out these stains to get rid of the dark mark. So what we decided to do was to let the stain take, and then we thought we'd test the tannin spot remover and see whether it would in fact remove all of the dark marks in the timber. It's a hand pump, very easy to spray onto the timber, and it's quite a thick jelly type material that settles on top of the stain and immediately begins to draw the stain out of the timber. As you can see, the marks are quite dark. Because Australian hardwood is so hard, the stain didn't seem to penetrate so hard in that timber, but on the oak it was obvious that the stain had really worked its way into the timber. Oak is a very porous timber. It's actually ideal for applying stain, so you can imagine what the coffee stain did when it was applied to the surface. But on the Marri, the solution was lifting the stain pretty much straight away. So that was a really good result as far as we were concerned on the Australian hardwood. And we just wanted to make sure when it was dry that there wouldn't be a dark mark there to indicate that there had in fact been a coffee stain. You can see that we're working quite hard on the oak. We could see a clear outline from the coffee, and of course the reaction with the damp and the oak would create a tannin mark. So we applied a little bit more of the cleaner to the surface just to make sure that we were in fact going to lift the stain. And to be perfectly honest, the hardest part of the job was waiting. It says you have to wait 45 minutes to let the Osmo tannin stain remover lift the mark. And that's exactly what we did, but at the same time, we just wanted to see the result sooner. So we kept checking along the way. But as you can see here, the stain in the Marri has lifted completely. There's not a mark on it. Just slightly damp where the timber was drying out. With the oak, you could see it was drying out. We just wondered, is there going to be any sign of a dark mark from the tannin? So we waited and we waited, and as it dried out, you could see that the surface here is a little bit damp, but the dark mark from the tannin stain is gone. There's no sign of that mark now. You've just got like a faint, palish sort of look to the timber around the area where it's drying out, but other than that, the tannin stain has gone, no sanding required. And in fact, you leave this timber, let it dry out completely, the surface will be back to new condition. So as far as we're concerned, that was a really good result for the Osmo Tannin Spot Remover. Very, very good. As we say, normally with tannin stains, you'd have to sand the timber. But in this case, this lifted the product, or the tannin stain rather, from the timber very nicely. So we recommend it. We definitely recommend that you use this product on timber if you've got a tannin stain, and you will get the result that you're after a lot more easily than having to resand everything.